Three doors, three futures. Three ways this can end. For Ukraine, for Azov, for the Arctic. In this episode, we put the Sea of Azov on trial, where people and myths collide, where wealth and power decide whose story becomes law. Russia says it came to defend. Crimea says otherwise. And we follow a Tatar girl in blue and yellow standing with ghosts who refuse to leave. By the end, you'll know which future you're willing to accept. Option 1. The UNCLOS tribunal cave in to Russia's pressure. Appeasement. Now, pragmatism can prevent war. Compromise isn't always surrender. Sometimes the deal that avoids blood is the right deal. But this isn't that deal. Morphine for the present, poison for the future. Florence Nightingale gives comfort. A lamp shining in the ward. Soft hands, calm voice. The patient sighs. But this isn't recovery. It's just morphine before the end. The world shrugs. Markets recover. Politicians claim stability. The Sea of Azov becomes Russian. The Arctic follows. And Donald and Vladimir walk away smiling. Pipelines secured, precedent locked in, power in their pockets. On the surface, it feels safe. Leaders congratulate themselves. Commentators say, it could have been worse, and people want to believe it. Because who doesn't want the noise to stop? And carefully, no one mentions the second great famine in Ukraine. But listen closely. It isn't peace. Donald has the aircraft carriers in place just in case. The trade deals realign, energy prices soar, democracies stumble, ordinary families pay the bill, and history whispers. In 1938 we gave Hitler the Sudetenland. He promised it was enough. It wasn't. It never is. Appeasement is always cheaper at the start, always fatal at the end. Florence Nightingale might whisper reassurance, but she can't hide the truth. The patient's dressed up in his finest, the arteries already drained, the face powdered, the hands folded neatly. This isn't peace. It's embalming. Option 2. The tribunal stands its ground. The presiding judge climbs unsteadily to his feet and declares that in a technical sense, according to the law of the sea, and despite the de facto control by Russia, the occupied territories remain the de jure property of Ukraine. Russia loses its case. The world cheers. A win for law? Wait. It's not that easy. Why are Vladimir and Donald smiling, toasting with Diet Coke and vodka? Because this, my friends, is even better. If the tribunal won't give them the Sea of Azov, they'll just take it. That's the point of destroying the rules-based order, so they can force their will on the world. Now Russia has the excuse it needs. They withdraw from the UN Convention for the Law of the Sea. Vladimir gives a speech. The world is unfair, we leave. Vladimir leaves the UN Convention of the Law of the Sea and takes the Sea of Azov with him. They carve up the Arctic like a stuffed pig. Then Donald makes his move. Remember his mad idea to take Panama? Doesn't look so crazy now. Put South Africa under pressure, grab the Cape route and the Suez and Persian Gulf, and every ship must now ask for permission or be sunk like a Venezuelan fishing boat. Freedom of navigation collapses. You want to move goods? You pay. Tolls skyrocket. A tenfold increase? Reasonable, says Donald. Electric cars? Banned, too risky. Could electrocute a whale. Carbon is king, and Donald and Vladimir share the crown. Some call this alarmist, Say the Sea of Azov is immaterial, a puddle in the corner of Europe, irrelevant to the big picture. Tell that to the judge who just lost his courtroom. Is it stable? Well, for as long as Vladimir and Donald can share a sandpit at the top of the world without fighting? Yeah, it is. And somewhere in a quiet office, a judge named Tolstoy puts down his quill. The obituary is written. Now the sea, like the truth, belongs only to the strong. And now we see what remains. For us, the third and final option. Our Amazon warrior takes a stand. A Tatar girl with ancient blood, draped in a flag of blue and yellow, demanding her right to be heard. No longer just the flag of Ukraine, now the world's battle flag of defiance. No longer do we need empires to keep the world safe. In their place, a simpler truth. The playground doesn't need a king. What Donald and Vladimir claim is impossible happens. The playground unites against the school bullies. No more silence, no more fear. The unthinkable becomes reality. Ukraine wins. Not just the war, the narrative. Crimea reclaimed. The Azov coast restored. The people of the Azov Sea take back their birthright. The Arctic remains global. Canada is safe. Maybe even Greenland. Donald and Vladimir languish in the corner, relics of a world that no longer needs them. Will they find another way? Maybe. Men like that always rattle every door. In this new age, the rest of us must hold the line. But for now, in the war-torn ruins of Sevastopol, a girl wraps herself in blue and yellow. This time, for good. That image alone, stronger than any speech. The tribunal smiles, no case to answer. In darkness, history yields not to tanks, but to a tiny daughter of Azov, and a world that values a child's smile above any rich man's greed. Fierce, steadfast. At the Amazon's knee she mastered shield, bow and steed, yet their greatest gift burns brighter. The fire of identity, the unyielding truth. We're not like the rest, and never will be. The world breathes again. Not perfect, but lawful. And somewhere along the frozen Arctic coast, an absurd little Arctic tern lays a single fragile egg. A tender promise of rebirth, of peace, and our future reclaimed. Whoever controls Crimea controls the Azov Sea. Whoever controls the Azov Sea controls the Arctic, and whoever controls the Arctic controls the world. If sea lanes shift, everything shifts with them. Trade is everything. Food, fuel, power, raw materials, manufacturing, the engine of civilization under the fists of billionaires. No, I take that back. Not billionaires, trillionaires. Thanks to us under the thumb of a whole new level of filthy rich. Forever. Can't you see them? Baby-faced strategists pitching this in some boardroom. Slick, confident, ruthless. Not just about Ukraine, but power itself. If the Sea of Azov falls, the law falls. And when the law falls, well, you already know what happens then. Some say global systems adapt, that shocks hurt but rarely rewrite the whole order, that the world bends and recovers. Not this time. This isn't a shock, it's a rewiring. So don't hand the future to two oily men with daddy issues. This time it's not a rail line or a factory town, It's the legal precedent, the moral precedent, that decides whether this is a world ruled by laws or by missiles. And this time, Donald is already scheming. He's doubling the Coast Guard size, a new fighting force that dwarfs most navies.
American shipbuilder Navy Defense will build up to 11 icebreakers for the U.S. Coast Guard.
These ice-breaking ships are meant to upgrade the U.S. Coast Guard's presence in the Arctic.
Bypassing the Pentagon, power that serves only at his whim. Why? For the Arctic. $19 trillion in resources, control of trade routes, a new empire with Donald as king. The Boxing Day tsunami killed 227,000 people, the worst natural disaster in humanity's history. This war? 1 million Russian casualties. Almost 1 in 100 of Russia's total population. Gone. Plus countless Ukrainians, men, women and children whose only crime was being in the way. Gone. But for what? Not for Donetsk, not for Mariupol. To win a precedent that the sea, like the truth, belongs only to the strong. To make a couple of greedy men filthy rich. She's not a soldier, not a spy, just another one in the way. If the world takes Azov seriously, takes the rule of law seriously, takes human dignity seriously, we also gift her the world that follows. But if we don't, she disappears, along with all our hopes for all children everywhere. One sea, one case, one choice. Prices, alliances, who eats first. It doesn't matter how we feel, it matters what we do. And this video, this is where it starts. Maybe I'm seeing patterns where there are none. Maybe I've gone too deep. Maybe. But the experts agree. Give Vladimir and Donald the Sea of Azov and you hand them the keys to the Arctic. It doesn't stop there. It reaches into Greenland, into Canada, into every quiet place where silence can be bought and borders erased. This isn't a conspiracy, it's just big money doing what big money does. Ask Donald, he'll tell you. He isn't under Vladimir's control. They're equal partners in crime straight out of the pages of some cheap airport thriller. And Vladimir? Well, he knows exactly what motivates Donald to get off the golf course. Donald's personal wealth, personal power, personal brand value. When states stop delivering, when the lights go out, when the basics fail, people trade freedom for any promise of order. No one listens to the ink-stained men of learning. Those silver-tongued scribes in dusty rooms quibbling over Latin and footnotes. But this time we must listen. Some say collapse isn't destiny, that reform and aid can stabilise without authoritarian drift. They're right, except in this world of fading empires and too many people who've forgotten what our grandparents fought for. I keep thinking about something from my days at uni. The hallway lights went out. Everyone assumed someone would fix it. So we waited. Days turned into weeks. Winter came. We stumbled in the dark. Then finally we called a meeting. Made flyers, gathered voices. Time to stand up for our rights. And I was the one who walked up to Student Services. Hi, I'm here about the lights in Block C. The receptionist picked up a walkie-talkie.
Jack, can you reset the fuse in Block C?
Sure thing. That was it. All that effort, all that passion, and all it took was one person stating the obvious. The lights are out. This video, it's me walking up to the desk, torch in hand, saying, "Mate, the Arctic Sea's going dark. Can someone check the fuse?" In the Philippines, they have a saying, to empty a room full of cockroaches, just turn on the light. Well, the lights are on now. We see them. We see what they're doing. But what about you? What role do you choose to play in this pantomime? What are you going to do? Because if you're going to let them pull off the biggest heist in history, then at least have the courage to say it out loud. Suck it up, Agent 007. In the real world, the evil genius wins.
So, here we are, the end of the season, and while I was editing, the verdict landed. June the 15th, the tribunal ruled on the Sea of Azov. Too late to fix the show? You try recutting 5 episodes on a Sunday. So, you get this instead. Me talking over the credits. Now, I gave you 3 doors. Morphine, Tolstoy, or the Amazon Warrior. A knife edge, the fate of the world. And history opened the second door. Disaster for us. A gift to Donald and Vladimir. No fleets, no defiance, no speeches, just a redacted PDF nobody read. The tribunal didn't hand Russia the sea. It just declined to give it back to Ukraine. On the water, that's the same thing. The bridge stays, the control stays, Ukraine keeps the paper, Russia keeps the sea. Bottom line, both sides declared victory. I hate being right about this one, but there it is. Now only the strong rule sea. If, or when, Donald secures the coasts of Greenland and Canada, the Arctic gets new landlords. But don't write our Amazon warrior off yet, she's still in with a chance. Crimea's peoples and myths collide. Wealth, war and sea decide whose story becomes law. That's what this season uncovered. The law and precedent set in Crimea's Sea of Azov will be applied by Russia and the USA to secure the Arctic. Some still say Russia's moves are purely defensive, that neither man cares about the North. The icebreakers are being built, the choke points are being tested. The precedent is being written. Right now. Watch what they do, not what they say. Next season, we go beyond the Arctic to every narrow place on the map where a fortune is being built and we tally who pays for it. To head Donald off at the pass, we need to know exactly where he's headed. Next season, we draw the map. I've laid down some bold ideas, but don't take my word as gospel. As the next slides unfold, you'll see every source, every reference. If curiosity bites, press pause. Dive in. There's some damn fine reading in there. If you've made it this far, you're a legend. Forged in truth, with a worrying amount of free time. Hit like, hit subscribe, and hit back at the big guy. Because in the halls of power, nobody's laughing at clowns, they're talking about clever, greedy men. See ya next season.